Hello and welcome to today's live lesson. It's a lovely afternoon and it's the first lesson of the week. I'm sure some of you are heading out I'm sure some of you have gone to the beach today because it's really nice weather. But it looks like we're going to be in for some really good weather anyway at the moment. So I'm just going to share today's video and then we can begin. Yesterday was a public holiday, which is why there wasn't a live video yesterday. Right, so let's just share. And I have some things to announce regarding tomorrow as well. Okay, yes, because tomorrow, Evelina says, hello. Leondina says, hi, Richard. Today is a real scorcher. What a good word, scorcher. Yes, it is hot. It is very, very hot today. I mean, it's the sort of weather where you really want to be by the sea. You do not want to be indoors without air conditioning either. Ah, lovely cup of tea. Right, so I'm going to start off by saying make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe if you're new, and share. So I have an announcement to make, and it's about tomorrow. So as your teachers probably will have told you, and I'm sure that you've been told as well, tomorrow your lessons are going to... hello, Alejandra. Hi. Good afternoon. So as you know, we are holding lessons from tomorrow back at AM Language at school. And there's some important things you guys need to know. So lessons start at 9 o'clock. Please, it's important you come much earlier. Oh, what's happened? Okay, good. I'm back. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Please make sure, guys, that you come early. We have quite a few things in terms of social distancing. Everyone who comes has to sign their name, and then they get allocated, or then you are told where to go, where your class is. So if you come at 9, it's a bad idea. It's better to come before 9, so that gives you a bit of time to actually write your name in and then shown where you need to go. In terms of classrooms, you will see that the classroom, the layout of the classroom is different because we're trying to do that social distancing. Arena says, hi, good afternoon, Arena. Welcome to today's lesson. It's important that it's important you come with either a face mask or a visor, that sort of thing, the visor that you see in restaurants. Teachers will most likely be wearing a visor, or AM's language staff will be probably wearing a visor. Good afternoon, Stefano. Good afternoon. So it's important that you do come with either a face mask or visor yourself. In terms of the size of the classrooms and social distancing, your average size class is going to be about 6 students to a class. Smaller classrooms, no more than 4. And in some classrooms, the slightly bigger ones, there's probably room for about 7 or 8. It does depend on the size of the class. Classroom, for instance, those of you who can remember, classroom 6, classroom 15, those are bigger classrooms. So there you can fit a couple more people in. But small classrooms like classroom 4, we can only fit 4 people in. Yeah, it's important that you do come with either a face mask or visor. In terms of the cafeteria on the roof, that will be open for the first break. So you can go up there for a coffee, and you can still get a coffee and croissant and that sort of thing from there in the morning. So yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow at the actual school. It'll be nice to see. But yeah, like I said, and if you see other students who might not be watching this at the moment, please let them know, just to watch the first 5 minutes of this video at least, just so they know what to expect tomorrow. Okay. So with that, let's get started. Welcome to today's lesson. We are going to look at the present perfect and the past simple when talking about experiences. More along the lines of which one do you need to use when you're talking about your experiences, and why might it change? So we're just going to start off simply by just sharing with each other. If you have done something, let me know in the live chat if you've done one of these activities. Okay, so we'll start off with that, and we're going to try and have a bit of a more of a conversation style lesson with this. In particular, imagine we're talking on WhatsApp. So we're going to try and have that kind of conversation. So just to remind you guys, past simple, for example, I was in Spain last week. You can see that that's a past simple. I've got my was, and I have my past time marker, very important. The present perfect, I have been to Australia. Okay, you can see that I've got my past participle been, and I've got Australia. I'm just saying this is something that is something I have done. I have been to Australia, but there's no past time marker there. So let's just have a little look. I'm just going to put some activities up, and let me know which ones you've done. Quite simply, if you've done it, you can tell me that you've done it. If you want to give me a little bit more detail, and remember, when you're going to talk about detail, that's when you should be using the past simple. So I'm going to give you an example, and then we're going to try and go with it. So the question might be, let's see, Stefano has come in already with, in 2015, I was at AM school for 3 entire months in a row. Amazing experience. I do recommend going there. It's really worth a visit. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in that one, Stefano, so very well done. I'd just like to point out, guys, if you do start your sentence with the year or the month, let's say in 2015, before you move on to the next part of your sentence, make sure there's a comma. You'll need to have a comma, but what Stefano has written is very good. So for example, I might write, say, skydiving, okay? And the question is, have you ever been skydiving before? Now, skydiving, that's the photo on the front. So the question might be, have you ever been skydiving? If it's a no, then you can simply say no. I've never been. And then you might want to add a little bit more, saying, but I would like to, for example, but I would like to, or no, I've never been and I never want to. That's the other way of putting it. If you have been skydiving, jumping out of a plane with a parachute, then you can say, yes, I've done that, or yes, I've been skydiving before. Okay, and then if you want to start giving detail, you can say, for instance, I went skydiving in New Zealand. Back in 2010. That's for me, for example. I went skydiving. I jumped out of a plane back in 2017 when I was in New Zealand. So you can see that if I'm just confirming an experience, I'm going to use the present perfect. But if I want to give some detail about the experience, that's when I'm going to use the past simple. So I'm just going to put some activities out there or things that people might have done, and just let me know in the live chat section, what have you done? What have you never done? And what would you like to do, maybe? I'm going to try and enter some kind of conversation with this as well. Have you ever done? Have you ever? Okay, let's see. Have you ever been, so skydiving? Maybe some of you have been skydiving, been scuba diving. Have you ever, let's say, have you ever been sailing? Have you ever, we could always change a bit, tried surfing? Have you ever tried climbing, been skiing? So let's just start off with some outdoor sports to begin with. Let me know if you guys have ever done any of these things. Tried, let's say, tried ice, yeah, maybe the ice skating, for example. Maybe that's another one. Been snorkeling, for example. That's another one. I mean, snorkeling isn't the most dangerous thing in the world, I suppose. It's not like scuba diving. What am I getting wrong here? Oh, okay. No, YouTube just doesn't recognize it. Ah, double L. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm missing out there. Okay, so let me know. Have you ever been skydiving? Have you ever been scuba diving? Have you ever been sailing, tried surfing? So Leodina says, I've never been scuba diving, but I would like to. Excellent, great start. But you would like to. Let me know where you would like to. Would you like to in Malta, for example? Would you like to go scuba diving in Malta? If so, I can always recommend some places. Don't forget, scuba diving, two separate words. I have never been scuba diving, but I really want to. I know one of the owners of AM Language is very keen on diving, scuba diving, and Malta is a very good place for scuba diving. I want to try it this year, scuba diving in Malta. Okay, so Leondina has come in with, I've never been scuba diving. Stefano says, unfortunately, I've never tried these outdoor sports activities, yet I'd love to. Yeah, actually, one quick little thing. When you have two nouns next to each other, typically speaking, okay, and you're thinking about the plural, you've got this idea, okay, you've got sports activities. Typically speaking, the S goes on the second noun, not on the first noun when you're adding a plural. Yeah, look, loads of these sports are really good fun. Actually, let's put another one. Have you ever been, let's see if I can, I'm sure I can find something that some of you might have done. Ooh, what about this one, actually? What about abseiling? Or what's the other one I'm thinking of? It was created in New Zealand. Ah, yes, that's it. Bungee jumping. I'm quite scared of bungee jumping. I don't think I want to go bungee jumping. I've never been bungee jumping, but we'll put that one in. So Leondina says, I'd like to go to Australia again. Okay, Leondina, tell us a bit more about Australia. When did you go to Australia? Where did you go in Australia? What did you do? So, Leondina, tell us a little bit about your experience in Australia. Evelina says, yes, I've been snorkeling before. Evelina, okay, tell me, where did you go snorkeling? Have you been snorkeling in Malta, or did you go snorkeling around somewhere in Italy? I know there are some fantastic places in Italy to go snorkeling. I also know, by the way, I know Sardinia is also meant to be a fantastic place to go snorkeling and scuba diving. We've got some others, abseiling and bungee jumping. Now, just to give you an idea, abseiling, bungee jumping, what's the difference? Bungee jumping is when you jump off a bridge, for example, and you go head first. Abseiling is the same. It's not the same thing, but abseiling you would do off a cliff, but instead of head first, you go feet first, and that's the difference. Evelina says, snorkeling in Sicily, in my country, the region of Marsala. Marsala, I know Marsala is a fantastic place for fortified wine. It's a place for alcohol, I know that. And yes, snorkeling in Sicily, there must be some really nice paths to go snorkeling in Sicily. There are some fantastic places to go snorkeling in Malta as well. I do recommend it. I would say Gozo is a fantastic place to go snorkeling. Okay, if you go, I don't recommend snorkeling around Sliema. I don't think you're going to see anything fantastic around Sliema. But if you go to the north of the island, the south of the island, St. Peter's Pool, actually, St. Peter's Pool might be a good place to do a little bit of snorkeling. Camino is obviously a great place, but Gozo, I think Gozo might be the best place to go snorkeling in Malta. I do recommend snorkeling. The best experience of my life snorkeling, because I have been snorkeling, and I think the best experience was last year in November. I was in the Galapagos, and snorkeling in the Galapagos is amazing. So much to see. Lena and Dina, thank you so much for giving us more information. So Lena and Dina has said, I went to Australia in 2018. Well done. That's a good past simple. And I really loved Kangaroo Island and Sydney. Okay, excellent. I really like that sentence. So you came in before telling us that you've been to Australia, and now to give us some more information, specific information, you have correctly used the past simple. So really well done there. I really like that sentence. And let me know if anyone else has been to Australia. I have been to Australia, and I have to say I loved Australia. Let me know, Leondina, and anyone else, what your favorite part of Australia was. For me, when I was in Australia, so many fantastic places. I really liked, for surfing, I really liked Byron Bay. I thought Byron Bay was a really good place to go and try surfing. I stayed in a hostel called, I think it was something like Funky Art, I think. It's quite a famous hostel. I think my favorite city in Australia, I liked Sydney a lot, but I think Melbourne, I think I liked Melbourne a little bit more. I think Melbourne has a bit more of a European feel to it, while Sydney, I think, has more of an American feel to it. So I think that might just be the slight difference. I thought Bondi Beach was definitely an experience, though. And Kangaroo Island. Did I go to Kangaroo Island? I don't think I went to Kangaroo Island when I was in Australia. I would say, though, guys, okay, I think countries is a good one. So I'll move on to my next question. Okay, I'm just to see what countries you've been to. So again, we've got this question: have you ever been to. Now, you might ask, why to, not in? And there's a difference, and that's going to be for my next question. Have you ever lived in? If you are using been, you are, I mean, sometimes students ask, what do we mean by been, for example? The reason why you were using been, it's the past participle of be, and it implies the activity, either the activity of doing something like snorkeling, or the movement of going and coming back between a place. And that's why we use been, and we always use it when we're talking about an experience of having been to a place, be it a country or city. So I'm going to start off with the first question with been, as in to do with countries, and then we'll move on to cities as well. So have you ever been to, let's say, okay, let's start off with, have you ever been to, right, let's start off with some countries. We'll start off with the USA, the UK, Canada, Mexico. I'm just, let's say, South American country, because there's a lot to choose from. A South American country. Don't pick your own country. So if you're from Colombia, don't just say Colombia. I mean, like, have you been to another South American country? Let's say an African country. There's many to choose from. We know some people have been to Australia. What about New Zealand? What about Japan or China or South Korea? What about Russia? Or let's say an Eastern European country. That could always be an interesting one. So an Eastern European country like Ukraine or Slovakia, Czech Republic, maybe. Maybe a Scandinavian country like Norway or Sweden, for example. Or maybe your more classic European countries, Western European countries like Spain, Portugal. I do recommend Portugal. It's a really cool place. I imagine most of you have been to Italy. There's always Germany, maybe Switzerland, France, for example. There could be many countries we could mention. Greece. So let me know, which places have you been to? Where have you been to? And then tell me a little bit about your experience. So, for example, I've been to Italy and France, for example. That's your present perfect. I've been to Spain. I've been to Italy. I've been to France. And then tell me a little bit about your experience. So a little bit like some other students, like Leondina has said, she has been to Australia. So then see if you can let's see what sort of language you can use to tell me about your experience in Italy, for example, or France or Germany, for example. Where did you stay? What can you recommend? I mean, this is very useful when you're talking about recommendations. Have you ever? Ooh, what about the Middle East? Have any of you been to the Middle East before? I have. It's it's a really interesting place, but not safe. Leondina says, I've never been to Scandinavia, but you're so close. It's on my bucket list. If it's a bucket list, it has to be the preposition on. Let me know which Scandinavian countries are on your list and what would you like to do in those countries. So if you have not been to a country, but it's on your bucket list, you want to go, tell me what would you like to do, for example, or where would you like to go? We use would because we're talking about a hypothetical future. So this would be a second conditional. Evelina says, I've never been to the UK. Don't forget the with UK. So I've never been to the UK and Ireland, but I hope one day you to go. You hope one day, you as in I, you mean the pronoun I because you're talking about you. I go. Yeah, look, the UK, I would say, look, everybody talks about London, and London isn't expensive, but it is a very interesting place. Other good cities to go to in the UK, I would recommend cities like York, Manchester, for example. Bristol is a really nice place. You've got some fantastic countryside as well. I think Scotland is a really, really good place to visit. Edinburgh is a lovely city. The countryside in Scotland is amazing. If you like whiskey, well, Scotland is for whiskey, really. Ireland is a nice place as well. Lots of really nice countryside. And Dublin is a really nice city as well. Wales, I don't know. I mean, I've been to Wales. I know Wales has a lot of very nice countryside, but it is wet and cold a lot of the time. There is a teacher, we do have a teacher at AM from Wales, and I think she would probably be disappointed with how unenthusiastic I've just been about Wales. She's very passionate about Wales. Her name, I think you all know, I think some of you know her, Lucy. But yes, I think Wales, you know what, I guess I just don't know I don't know Wales well enough. I've been to Cardiff. So, yeah. Okay, so Leondina says, I'd like to do a cruise among the fjords. Okay, so this is talking about Scandinavia. Yeah, a cruise in the fjords of Norway. I think that sounds like a fantastic experience. With the fjords, I like the idea of, because it's Norway, I know you can do some really nice trekking. Let me know if any of you have been trekking before. Now, trekking is obviously walking in the mountains and countryside. But I know that Norway has some fantastic views, and the fjords are supposed to be really beautiful. Obviously, if you go at this time of year, I think it would be a great time of year to go to the fjords. It shouldn't be too cold. It's probably quite warm at this time of year. It'd be warming up. So fjords is a really good one. Okay, guys, now let's change. The question, have you ever lived in a foreign country? I'm not going to include Malta because that's too quick, that's too obvious. Other than Malta. So what do I mean by that? So have you ever lived in a foreign country other than Malta? So first of all, have you ever lived in? You will see that the preposition of live or lived is going to be in, not to. Then you've got foreign, so a country that is not your country. And then you've got other than Malta. So if I put other than Malta, it means you can't say Malta. So you can't say your own country and you can't say Malta. So in my case, I can't say Malta and I cannot say the UK because the UK is my home country and it's very clear that I have experience living in Malta. So I can't say Malta or the UK. So where can I say with this question? Well, I can say places like Firenze or Florence in English, Firenze in Italian, if I'm not mistaken. In Italy, I think Firenze is probably one of my favorite. I think Florence is one of my favorite cities in the world, to be honest. It's one of those places where it doesn't matter if it's a bad day in terms of the weather, it's raining. The city, the small, beautiful, historical city, it's still beautiful, still wonderful to be in. It's a great place to be in. And I loved their version of fast food. So what I found, I mean, I lived in Florence for a little bit back in 2010, 2011. And I thought their version of fast food was brilliant. So for €5, you could get a panini or a sandwich that you can choose, and a glass of red or white wine. Much better than your local McDonald's, really. So I've lived in Florence for a while. I've lived in, where else have I lived? I suppose it depends how long. I mean, I've done a lot of traveling, so I've lived in some part. I've traveled to different parts of Australia, New Zealand. I've lived in Scotland, but that's still the UK. I've traveled around South America, but I can't say I've lived there. And there is a difference. You need to stay. You need to rent and stay in that one place for a while. So Stefano says, actually, I haven't traveled a lot so far. I have been to UK. Don't forget the UK. It's one of those few countries where you need the at the start. That's a very expensive country. Yeah, the UK is very expensive, and London is so expensive. It's silly. Quite impossible to live in Malta. Quite impossible to live in. Okay, you probably don't need the preposition there. You can just live. It's quite impossible to live there, I would say. Malta is a very good option for those people interested in studying English. Yeah, Malta is an excellent alternative. It's actually a really good place to learn English. When you go out, you can hear plenty of English being spoken. There are a lot of English people in Malta as well. There are a lot of people from England, Wales, Ireland, Scotland as well. I don't want to confuse Ireland and the UK, though. That's a very bad mistake. But you do have a lot of people from those countries. You also can find a lot of people from Australia in New Zealand, in Malta. Malta and Australia have quite a strong connection. A lot of Maltese people in the 60s and 70s left Malta and went to Australia. And as a result, there's now quite a strong connection between Malta and Australia. There's always been a strong connection between Malta and the United Kingdom as well. And obviously, there's a strong connection with Malta and Italy and Sicily for geographical reasons. But I mean, Malta was once so close to the UK. It nearly, back in the 60s, it nearly became a part of the UK. I mean, that's how close Malta and the UK are. They were so close, Malta nearly became you could almost call it like a state of the UK, but that didn't happen. But English is considered, is seen as a first language in Malta. But I would say with Malta, because you've now got a lot of different people from different parts of the world, you definitely can see people who are very comfortable speaking English, but you do see a lot of people who are more comfortable speaking Italian. And that's understandable because Italy is very close. It's next door to Malta. So you can see why. Okay. So yeah, guys, let me know which places you have lived in. Maybe you haven't lived in too many different places. So let's now try, let's go with something different. We're going to talk about, let's say, try. Okay. So let's talk about try in terms of food and drink and places as well that you can visit. So have you ever, okay, once again, been to a bar called Compass? Have you ever been to a bar called hole in the wall. I'm going to choose one more place, and I'm going to say, have you ever been to Bridge Bar? Okay, let's see what you guys come out with. These are 3 places in Malta. Let me know if you've been to Compass, Hole in the Wall, or Bridge Bar. And let me know if you have. Great. If not, I can tell you some things about it. So the first one, a bar. It's a restaurant and bar called Compass. It's outside. It's in Sliema, and if you know where Park Towers, the Tower Store is, for example, it's really, really close to there. It's on the. It's on your way to like teeny. You've got like a little curve, for example. Okay, so you're walking along the Sliema front. You're really close to teeny point, and you've got a choice. You can either go left round, follow the corner around to teeny point, or you can go straight. And if you go straight, you let's say maybe 3 minutes away, you've got Tower Store, the the Apple Center, the I Center, shop called Next, HSBC, and the road going down towards the Sliema ferries. I do recommend Compass. Compass is great for food like calamari. That's nice. Yeah, it's quite a nice place to go for drinks and sit outside and enjoy the view as well, especially early evening. I think it's a good place to go there. Hole in the Wall is really close. It's very close to the Eye Center, actually, and Next and Tower Store. It's actually round the corner. So if you are let's say, at Tower Store, for example, the supermarket, you're on that little you're not on the main road. You've got that small little narrow road. Well, if you go to the end of that narrow road, you can see that the road, what we would say, splits in two. So you've got a road going up on the left and a road going down on the right. If you go left and it goes just a little bit up the road, you get to a nice bar called Hole in the Wall. I do recommend going. It's a really good place to go to relax. You can find an interesting, I would say, an interesting range of drinks there. You can find some beers that you can't find in other places, whiskeys, wines, and they also serve a little bit of food. Nothing special though. And then finally, you've got Bridge Bar. And Bridge Bar is a really good place to go to on Friday. And Bridge Bar is a bar in Valletta. It's a wine bar, and on Friday evenings, you also have a live jazz band. You can sit on the stairs. There's like little cushions, so things you can sit on. You can always call and book a table, for example. They have a good wine selection. You can have some food there, and it can be a really good place to go. Valletta is a really nice place to be in the evening, actually. There's a lot of nice places to go to in Valletta. There are a lot of good wine places, and you can find some good food as well. So let me know if you've ever been. But if you want to recommend something, please ask me. Have you ever been here? Have you ever been there? Feel free to ask the questions as well. Maybe you would like to know an alternative. So maybe you are used to going to the same places and you want to try something different. Feel free to ask me what I can recommend on that one. I think just to finish off, I think one of the last questions we can always ask as well is tried. So, have you ever tried Maltese food? Have you ever have you ever tried English food? have you ever tried South American food, for example? I would say with South American food, I've tried arepas from Colombia, and that's really nice. I've also tried a lot of Peruvian food, and I think I have to say Peruvian food is really nice. I've also tried Chilean and Argentina. I like Argentina. I think the steak from Argentina is really nice. I've tried that. Chile, if I'm being honest, I was a bit disappointed with the food in Chile. I've tried Ecuadorian food, and Ecuadorian food is quite nice. So let me know, guys, what food have you tried? Maybe you want to ask me, have I ever tried anything from your country? If it's Russia, I would say, have I ever tried Russian food? I think I might have tried borscht once. It's a type of soup. Japanese food, yes, I have tried, but I don't know if I can say the word would be authentic, because I've never been to Japan, so I'm not sure if it's the real thing. So let me know, guys. But like I said, when we are using this language, present perfect, this is when you're just saying if an experience has happened or not. But we use the past simple, obviously, to talk about when something happened. Dear teacher, is there any accommodation solution you would recommend for solo students in Slima? I'm going to be honest with you, Stefano. I am probably one of the worst people to recommend anything when it comes to renting. So unfortunately, I cannot help you with that question. I don't know is the answer to that question. I would suggest maybe, what would I recommend? I suppose it's a question of where do you ask, who do you ask, and where. I'm sure there are people at school who deal with accommodation who probably would know how to answer that question better than I can. Leodina says, I've tried Thailand food. It's very spicy. Okay. Really like what you've gone for there, by the way. And I would say when using typically in English, we would say Thai instead of Thailand food. We would say Thai food. We just shorten it to Thai food. Thai food is nice. I think Thai curry is really nice. I would like to know how to make Thai curry personally. The Thai green curry, for example, that's nice. And yes, it is very spicy. It's not the spiciest thing I've ever tried, but Thai food is spicy. It's got when we talk about spice, actually, we can say it's got a bit of a kick, or it has a strong kick to it. When we use the word kick, we're not talking about kick as in football, like kicking a football. Kick is when we talk about food and drink, and it has a very strong flavor, and it's usually hot. It's a hot flavor, and it's spicy, typically spicy. So if you've got spicy food like Thai, then you could say, wow, it's got a kick to it, meaning it's spicy. And then when it comes to drinks, if you're thinking of, let's say, strong alcoholic drinks that burn the throat, that makes you feel like your mouth is on fire, then we would say it's got a kick to it. Stefano says, last question for you. How long are you going to carry on with your interesting lessons? Thank you very much for the question, Stefano. Well, I can tell you the idea is I'm going to continue. We are going to continue the live lessons during the summer months. So you can expect these lessons to continue in July and August. You can expect these live lessons to continue. I think one of the reasons is that I think during this period of coronavirus, I know that learning English for you guys has been difficult. So for now, we're going to continue with the online lessons for July and August at least. And then afterwards, we'll see. I suppose we'll have to see from there. But I would say that thank you very much for asking that question. And so far, people have been enjoying these live lessons. So as long as people enjoy them, I suppose there's always a reason to continue the live lessons. Okay, guys, and that brings me to the end of today's live lesson. Thank you very much for joining the lesson today. I'll be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I can't remember what do I have lined up for tomorrow, actually. What's the lesson for tomorrow? I know it's on Facebook. So tomorrow, Wednesday. Oh yes, this is a good one, guys. Tomorrow, I do recommend. Doesn't matter what your level is, elementary, pre-intermediate, intermediate, up intermediate, even advanced. Tomorrow's lesson: how to use will in the present and future tense. The modal verb will can be a little bit confusing. So tomorrow I'm going to take you through this modal verb will. How do we use it in the present? How do we use it in the future? And why it matters as well. So we can also look a little bit at the pronunciation side of things as well. You're welcome, Stefan. You're welcome, Stefano. Thank you very much for participating. You too, Evelina. You too, Leondina. You too, Irina. And everyone else watching as well. Thank you very much for all of you who have written in the live chat section. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for watching, even if you haven't written in the live chat section. Thank you very much. If you're watching later, thank you for watching. Don't forget, guys, tell other students it's important that they do watch at least the first 5 minutes of this video where I talk about things that they need to know about tomorrow. So don't forget, come with either a mask or a visor. Please don't come at 9, come before 9. There will be a bit of a queue. There's social distancing. There's you have to sign your name in. Tomorrow is not going to be in the morning. It's going to be the first day after lockdown. So I would say don't come thinking that you can just come and go straight to class. We have to follow procedures, so things in the morning will be a little bit slow to begin with. So please come please come before 9 o'clock to make sure that you are in class by 9 o'clock, so you get your full lesson time. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Enjoy the evening. Enjoy this lovely weather. Thank you so much, and bye for now.